April 28th, 1789. Somewhere in the Pacific, one of the most famous mutinies in history was about to begin. The British Empire spent centuries searching for HMS, or Her Majesty's Ship Bounty. A British vessel sent across the Pacific on a mission that would eventually become one of the greatest maritime mysteries in history. Then everything changed. The crew turned against their captain, William Bligh. Fletcher Christian and the mutineers seized control of the ship. Bligh and the men who remained loyal to him were forced into a small open boat and left behind in the middle of the Pacific. What happened next was almost unbelievable. Bligh and his loyal men survived an extraordinary journey across thousands of miles of ocean. Meanwhile, the mutineers disappeared into the Pacific, searching for a place where they could escape the reach of the British authorities. Eventually, the mutineers reached remote Pitcairn Island. Far from major shipping routes, the island became their hiding place. And then came the detail that made the story unforgettable. In 1790, the Bounty itself was burned. The ship was gone, but the mystery surrounding the people, their possessions, and everything they carried did not disappear with it. And this is where documented history ends, and our mystery begins. For centuries, the Philippines has stood at the crossroads of major maritime trade routes connecting Asia, Europe, and the wider Pacific world. European ships, Asian merchants, explorers, traders, and sailors passed through waters surrounding the islands. So imagine this possibility. Somewhere in a forgotten colonial era account, a story describes strange foreigners appearing among an isolated island community. Not pirates from a famous legend, not soldiers from a known expedition, but strangers who supposedly spoke a foreign language and carried unfamiliar objects. There is no verified historical document proving that these people were connected to the Bounty. But that is exactly what makes the mystery interesting. Because the Philippines was already a world of merchants, shipwrecks, hidden coves, forgotten ports, and stories passed from one generation to another. And then there is the gold. A British gold coin can look very different from the Spanish and Asian coins commonly associated with historical trade in the region. But finding a foreign coin somewhere in the Philippines would not automatically prove that the Bounty had been there. A coin can travel. A merchant can trade it. A sailor can lose it. A shipwreck can scatter it. So one coin is not a treasure, one artifact is not a lost ship, and one legend is not proof. But what if something else was found with it? What if an old maritime object appeared inside a remote Philippine cave, far from any obvious historical settlement? What if beside that object was an old merchant's mark carved into a wooden box? A mark that nobody could immediately identify. Would that be proof of the Bounty? No. But it would be a reason to investigate. Because history is not only written in books. Sometimes it survives in objects, maps, shipwrecks, coins, and marks left behind by people who never expected anyone to find them. And that brings us back to the Bounty. The Bounty was real. The mutiny was real. Pitcairn was real. The burning of the ship was real. But a secret treasure route from the Bounty to the Philippines remains unproven. And perhaps that is the most important part of this mystery. Because somewhere between history and legend, there may still be stories waiting to be tested. So here is the question. If a European object really reached a remote Philippine island during the age of sailing, who brought it there? Was it a merchant, a sailor, a shipwreck survivor, or simply an object carried through centuries of trade? And if you had one chance to search the Philippine Islands for the answer, where would you look? Because sometimes the greatest mysteries are not buried in the places everyone is searching. Sometimes they are hidden where nobody thought to look. This is the merchant's mark, and this mystery is only beginning.